So how much water do we actually need? On one hand, water seems to be the most plentiful things. I went up on the website and found out that there are 326 quintillion gallons. A quintillion, I think that's the number. The document in the paper said 326 million trillion. What I saw was a number 326 with 18 zeros after it. It's a lot of water. It's a lot of water. But of all that water, only 2% is fresh water, usable for drinking or farming, or many other uses that we use it for. And even most of that water, 1.6% of all the water on the planet, is in the Arctic and Antarctic ice caps, leaving us about 0.4%, most of which is underground and aquifers, and only 0.04% is in our rivers and lakes. So how should we use this water? This water that seems so abundant recalls the poem of the Unitarian Coleridge, water, water everywhere, but 0.04% to drink. We're told by common folklore that we should drink 8 cups a day. And that's a folklore that has kind of pervaded, and you see it on lots of health sites, and no one quite knows where this came from. One source that people point to is a government brochure that was released in the 40s that said we need about 8 cups of water a day, most of which we get in the food that we eat. For anything that is moist contains some water. People tended to forget that second half of that phrase and have their water bottles, and they drink their water all the time, and it's been quite a craze. And I think about water, and I remember one of my most memorable moments here as your minister. I was teaching my first new member orientation class, and I invited one of our longtime members to give a history of this congregation, figuring he knew what this place was about much more than me. And so when I asked him to speak, he said, you know, this place, when I came here, we had lots of doctors and parties, and we always drank really hard liquor. And then kind of in the 70s, it kind of changed to this wine and cheese thing. And then by the 80s and 90s, it just seemed like coffee was everywhere. Coffee had to be at every function. And now people are bringing little bottles of water to the church. And I said, that is a remarkable sociological study of the history of beverages in our fellowship. But even water can be too much of a good thing. People with their tendencies to want to drink water all the time has caused the expansion of plastic bottles, which people throw away, and it's created another problem of a disposable society. And there's been some people who think, well, if 8 cups is good Maybe 30 cups is better. And you can actually suffer a condition called hyponatremia, which all the nutrients, electrolytes are washed out of your body. It's also known as water intoxication, which has many of the effects of other intoxication, of dizziness, confusion, and even unconsciousness, and worse. But I still recommend drinking water. The main health benefit of water is that you're not drinking something else. You're not drinking soda that's full of high fructose corn syrup. I heard a startling statistic on NPR that 1/3 of Americans born after 2000 will probably suffer from type 2 diabetes because of the level of sugar, particularly high fructose corn syrup, in our diets. Read the label of almost anything you drink or even eat. It's there. Just added sugar to make it a little sweeter. And if you're drinking water, you're not drinking a milkshake, which adds lots of fat to all that sugar. And you're not drinking alcohol, whose threshold of intoxication is much lower than water's and leads to its own health problems. We need this water to live, and it is indeed precious. But how we use our water is critical to how we relate to this planet. What do you do with the plastic bottle? Do you use it over and over again? Then you might be helping yourself and the planet. How critical is it to water our lawns? If you live in an area where grass doesn't grow by the rain that's given, you probably shouldn't have a lawn. And then at the food co-op dinner potluck that was here with our UUs and other people who eat healthy and are conscious of the environment, I heard someone talking about trying to figure out a way to have gray water or non-purified drinking water operate her toilet, because why does that good water just go down the drain? And I thought that was a very good idea of ways to use water. You can use gray water all the time. If you wash your dishes, you can use your water to go out and garden. You know, pour that water in your garden, and it'll help, and you won't be wasting clean water. But I thought replacing toilet water with gray water was probably dangerous for dogs. So we'll strike a balance in whatever way we can, being aware of how much water we use and how connected we are to the water, and how our choices affect the earth we live on. Because 1.6% of the fresh water on this planet is on the polar ice caps. And especially in Antarctica, if that melts, it won't be available to us. It'll just get mixed in with the ocean water, most of it. And again, we would have too much water. So many of the places listed in our water ceremony were places that were 2 or 3 feet above sea level. Our barrier islands might become located somewhere around Greenville. The Florida Keys would disappear. Indeed, a country, the Maldives in the Indian Ocean, the highest point in that country is 6 feet above sea level. So we need to find a harmony with life, with water. And I conclude with a Hindu prayer. And I think in that small stretch of about 1,000 miles in India is probably one of the most dramatic of our water cycles. The water coming up from the Indian Ocean to the very highest Himalayas, the highest point on land, and then coming down into the Ganges River, the holy river, which is referred to in this as a goddess. Waters, you are the ones who bring us the life force. Help us to find nourishment so that we may look upon great joy. Let us share in the most delicious liquid that you have, as if you were loving mothers. Let us go straight to the house of the one whom the waters give life and give us birth. For our well-being, let the goddesses be an aid to us, the waters for us to drink. Let them cause well-being and health to flow over us. Mistresses of all the things that are chosen, rulers over all peoples, the waters are the ones I beg for a cure. Waters, yield your cure as an armor for my body, so that I may see the sun for a long time. Water, carry far away all of this that has gone bad in me, either what I have done in malicious deceit or whatever lie I have sworn to. I have sought the waters today. Come and flood me with splendor. May we bless and be blessed.